Welcome to the microphone, Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life. Dr. Klein is with us 5 full days a week right here on the Resource Hour, and then we actually take these recordings and make them available through some of his sites. So it's a very exciting way to put the information to use and then archive it so it's always going to be there. Now, we're going to talk today about planning for the next one. And what do we mean? Well, at the time this is being recorded, we're just coming out of Irma. And, of course, as we say in Florida, we never date ourselves by years. We date ourselves by hurricanes.
When did you show up?
You know, we talk about Donna, we talk about Andrew, we talk about Charlie, we talk about Ivan, and now we talk about Irma, because Irma was a big one. And we learned some things from Irma. So pressing forward, there's even things now that we didn't have to think about with Andrew. Technology and things like that. So how do we plan for the next one, Doctor?
Okay, well, we need to look at it from several different viewpoints. You know, we had a little chit-chat with the FEMA guys here a few minutes ago, okay, following Hurricane Irma. You know, they were rather impressed by our approach to prevention. Well, what it works out to is this. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from the mistakes of others. It's the difference between being smart and being wise. Okay, what can we do differently to make our lives a little bit better, a little bit safer, and perhaps make somebody else's life a little bit better as well? With regards to preparation, you know, going on the FEMA website, emergencykits.com is a list that has all manners of suggestions. Okay, it's extraordinarily unlikely that any one person is going to get everything on these lists. But you don't really need to. There are certain things that you're going to see on there that have multiple uses, and that's where you need to focus. So I'm going to focus on what I know best, and what I know best is medicine. There are things that you need to have at your home which may be different from what the government suggests that you need to do. They like to tell you to be prepared for 3 days. And I will tell you that here in Florida, you'd had best be ready for at least 7 to 10 days, because if not, if you don't have a 7 to 10 day supply of your medications, you are going to show up short. And there's certain things where this is absolutely critical. Blood pressure medications in particular. Being short on blood pressure medications can cause you to have a stroke. If you have congestive heart failure, you need to have medications on hand. Diabetic supplies in particular. Okay, nothing is worse than running out of your insulin or your other medications and running sweet. Okay, it is not the way things ought to operate. So 7 to 10 days, minimum 2 weeks is probably a lot better. How much water can you keep on hand? Well, they'll tell you 1 gallon per person per day. And I'll say that that's probably enough. But it may not be enough here in this environment. So what do you need? My number one supply, the number one thing that I recommend people get is bleach, household bleach. They'll say, well, you could use a few drops of this to purify water, and that's absolutely correct. Bleach is far more useful than simply for water purification. It's a marvelous irrigant with regards to wounds. So let's say that you're out and you get hurt, okay? There may be a while before somebody's going to haul you out into, in the meat wagon. The ambulances don't typically run when the winds whip up above 40 miles an hour. Now, let's understand what a hurricane is all about, okay? They're not going to be there to take you out. You need to be able to take care of yourself, hence the word first in the first aid. Bleach is a marvelous antiseptic. So not only will it help you with your water supply, but it'll help you with wound irrigation. It will help you with bandage sterilization. So let's say that you are going to be stuck out in the Keys for several weeks, okay? There's a lot of that goes on in the Keys. All right, you can't store enough alcohol to remain out there for several weeks without somebody getting hurt. You need to have the bleach to sterilize the cloth to use as bandages. In wartime, this is how it's done. That's one of the many reasons why nurses and doctors used to wear white. So that way you could see where the fresh blood was. Okay, once you bleached it out, you couldn't see it anymore and you were clean, quote unquote. So bleach, how much bleach would you get? The answer is about 3 gallons. You go to Costco, go to wherever you need to go and grab 3 gallons of bleach. That's enough for you to have what you need for you and your family for about 2 weeks. What does it really take to clean your clothes? About a cup in a tub of water. So you can use the bleach for cleaning your clothes. You can use the bleach for cleaning your silverware, your dishes, wounds notwithstanding, but also for water purification. What else do you need? Now we're looking at 2 weeks supply of your medications, 3 gallons of bleach, which cost about $5. Okay, vinegar is very, very useful as a food preservative. So you want to have 2 to 3 liters of white vinegar. It's great to clean things. It's also very, very interesting with regards to disease prevention. It's very, very helpful with regards to food preparation. Salt, regular table salt. How much do you need? 1 pound. What else do you need? Dried foods. And people talk about meals ready to eat or MREs. In the government, when I was with the military, we used to stock these things out. They tasted awful then and they taste worse now. You make your own MREs. What does it really mean? It means you go buy cans of tuna fish. They can be eaten right out of the can. And you get yourself dried fruit and nut bars. You buy yourself 3 to 4 cases of these things and leave them in your ready kit. You leave them in your larder. You leave them in your pantry. You don't consume these things. You may rotate them, but you want to have them handy. Canned soups, marvelous. Canned sauces, marvelous. Pastas, they remain dry. They can sit in your pantry for years. Never be much of an issue. Don't forget the can opener. Okay, now how does this work? Okay, you're looking at your electric can opener, so you're lazy like the rest of us. You need to have manually operated can openers for these things to work. Not a big deal. Matches should have. Okay, why? Because oddly enough, those candles that you think are pretty useless may be your only source of light when your generator fails, because they do. Generators don't last forever. They go out at the worst conceivable time. Are you certain you had your propane tank filled? Are there any leaks? Guess what? Those candles are very, very necessary for you so you don't break your neck. Batteries, honest to God, this is the sort of thing that drives me crazy. Batteries will last in those packs for almost 10 years. Now, they typically come in these strips of 20 or 30. You want to have 2 of those. Get yourself some flashlights. Take the batteries out of the flashlights. That way they don't crust over. You are now ready. What else should you have? Boric acid, that's spelled B-O-R-I-C. Now, this is an old-timey thing. Why do you want boric acid? Your grandma used boric acid. So will you. Why? Because it makes a marvelous eye irrigation. Eye injuries are extremely common, especially with flying debris. Now, that flying debris can occur as a result of a hurricane. It can also happen with leaf blowers. These sorts of things happen. Now you end up with a foreign object in your eye and no place to go. You're going to be able to make your own eye irrigation with boric acid, or if you end up with an infection in your eye, you can lose your eye by the time you make it to the hospital. So having boric acid is very, very important. It's $2 or $3 for a little tiny bottle of this stuff. It'll last for 50 years until somebody decides to throw it away or stick it in an antique shop. Boric acid. What else do you want? Baking soda. My God, this stuff comes in handy. What does it do? It'll help you with the stink in your refrigerator. It'll help you with the stink in your freezer. But it also is very, very beneficial for certain types of dysentery and stomach infections. Baking soda is not the same thing as baking powder. You want baking soda. What else do you want to keep? You want aspirin. You want Tylenol. If you're really, really clever about doing this, okay, you're going to have some mild pain relievers left over from your surgery. And I'm not supposed to really say that, but if you break your arm and you have some place that you need to be, having an extra pain medication is not a bad thing to have, because you may or may not be able to find these things elsewhere. With regards to nutraceuticals, it gets to be very, very interesting to survive without air conditioning. This is Florida. We get our storms most typically during the summertime when it gets hot. Okay, so you need to be prepared to sleep. So there are certain medications that you can take that will help you rest through this. GABA is a beauty. It's over-the-counter, non-prescription. L-theanine, very, very helpful. And melatonin. Highly suggest that you keep this handy. Last but not least, you want to get yourself some dish soap. And this is going to sound really, really dumb, and that's just fine. But you want to get yourself several liters, that's several quarts of dish soap, and leave it in your garage. Why do you want to do this? Because one of the great traps that we get into in Florida, Southeast in general, after storms like this, is mosquito issues. And by using your dish soap with a garden sprayer, one of those Miracle Grow sprayer attachments, they're marvelous. They're $6 or $7 at Home Depot. Get it and keep it handy. And what you do is attach it to your garden hose. You spray your shrubs down with it. You spray down your driveway. You spray down anything that would have the capacity to hold as much as a quarter of a teaspoon of water. This will kill the mosquito larvae, and it'll help you keep the insects under control. Very, very important, very, very effective. It's biodegradable, and it's cheap. None of the things I mentioned collectively will cost you as much as $50.
There you go. You like what you hear? Lots of information at the Stages of Life.
Our phone number is 407-679-3337, and our website is stagesoflife.net. We're located in Longwood at 1917 Booth Circle. That's right off of I-4 and 434. And let's see, our office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. The health store that Rob mentioned with all of our nutraceuticals is open during those office hours, but we're also on the web, as I said, at stagesoflife.net, and you can purchase your nutraceuticals at your leisure, and we will ship them to you.